Whew. Alright, so that was exhausting. We're not doing that again. Anyways, hey friends, Dawson here, and today we are doing another personality analysis. I have watched 16 hours of Sylvester Stallone so that you don't have to. And today we're covering his objective personality type. So you know him from movies such as Rocky, Rambo, Spy Kids. He definitely has a diverse So for some context going into this one, what you are going to find with Sylvester, aka Sly, is that he is a rather consistent person over time. He's pretty similar from the time that he was 20 to where he is today, or at least compared to Jim Carrey, who had a massive change from 20s to 60s. So while Sly is consistent, he is a rather complicated type that has a lot of different moving parts that are difficult to fit together. So you have to be really careful, and you have to download his whole life story in order to understand who Sly is. Now, according to the greater MBTI community, Sylvester Stallone has been typed by a couple of hundred people as either an ISFP or an ISTP. And so looking at this, I could say yes and no. They are saying that he is an introvert, so he is going to be more mopey, he's going to be hiding away, he's not going to be producing as much, he's going to be a sensor, so he is grounded in the factual information and not jumping off, he's a little bit more hesitant to guess. And then he's a feeler, so he's going to be grounded in his morals and his values rather than the do-done doing things of the work. And then he is a perceiver, not a judger or whatever. So that means he's going to be open to different opportunities, he's going to be looking for change and for new things. And so in this case, I would say you might have one of those coins correct. Now let's do a little bit of a visual bias test here so that way we can see, does Sly remind me of anyone? And with Sly, I kind of ran into the same problem that I did with Jim Carrey, in that Sly doesn't remind me of a lot of people. I think at a certain point, once he got a little bit older, he started to remind me a little bit of James Cameron and Steven Seagal, whatever, you know what I mean. So there are some similarities there, but otherwise I don't really recognize this look. And as you kind of look at some of his older photos, you start to see more of the thicker, leathery skin, often what clusters in the double masculines. That seems to be what Sly is talking about as well in a lot of his interviews. He was never attractive enough to play the leading man. He was always the thug that got beat up. And that seems to be like a similar trend in Hollywood, where people will get typecast kind of based on their modalities. You have a lot of the double feminines that end up as the cute leading man. You have a lot of the visuals that play that sharp cowboy stare down. They have the intense kind of visual aspect to them. The audios have more of the rugged, gruff, more masculine look to them. And then the double masculines tend to play more of the brute force roles. It's just interesting that Sly kind of got caught up in this. And even though he wasn't attractive enough to play a leading man, he just goes, I'm going to play one anyway. And I'm going to make my own category. And that's exactly what he did. Then as well, I think you're going to see something pretty obvious here, is that what is written all over his face? It is sleepy. It is mopey. He's got the most droopiest eyes that I've ever seen on an individual. I remember Felix and Holly over at Practical Personality were typing Matt Diavella, and he has just the most droopiest sleepy eyes. And of course, he is a play last ENFP. And so I'm seeing some of the same visuals with Sly. So if I were to go in and to type Sylvester Stallone, my initial bias would probably be, okay, well this guy is sleepy, he's probably mopey, everyone makes fun of the way he talks, like, hey, how's it going? So he's probably blast last. So I'm probably looking at some mopey, introverted blast last. That's probably my initial bias. Now first we're going to cover some easy coins, and I think the first coin that you're going to be able to see consistently over and over again is going to be OI versus OE. The need for things to be consistent, to be familiar, to be the same, to be in a box, versus the need for things to be different, for change and for new opportunities. So in this clip, we're going to see him compared to his buddy Arnold. We know Arnold to be a jumper ENTJ, so he is TE and SE. And so Arnold is going to be looking for new variety and for new things to do. Compared to him, what is Sly?
Are you moving away from the more physical parts anyway?
I don't.
Not me.
I thought you were being heartwarming.
I've just done a couple comedies, but that doesn't mean you're moving away from it. You take a little breather.
You just add on.
That's it.
You add on to the kind of so you have a variety of different types of movies. I think that every actor is looking for doing different things, doing comedy, doing a romantic comedy, doing an action film, doing something, this with kids, and then with a dog or with animals. I mean, you try to do different things, a western, a war movie, whatever it is. It's much more fun and stimulating.
Well, you don't have a plan. You don't have a plan about where your career is going to go.
I should have.
I have a plan. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I have a plan.
I have no plan. I don't know for sure.
You know what I mean?
It's always a shot in the dark.
Yeah, well, your shots are doing okay.
Did you used to have?
I have a plan. All right, well, he says he has a plan, so he's a planner. Done, right? Well, I like to plan. I mean, school just started for me last week, so I've been obsessively planning, week 6 needs to move to week 2, and how can I organize these around? And I'm constantly trying to put these parts together. Does that make me a planner? Well, you have to see the human need. Oh, well, I put the plan and then, well, we'll see and we'll move that, we'll move it around and I might want to do something different. I was supposed to get an assignment done today, but I was like, I'll just record this. Whatever, we'll see. So we can't just type them based on one clip or his liar words. We have to see who is Sly consistently.
Did you start looking ahead and were you already thinking of Rocky 3 and 4 at that point?
Yeah.
So you were thinking, right, well, how could I, blend into 3 and 4?
Sequels were considered an anathema in filmmaking jargon. It's like, oh my God, a sequel. It's like, the movie's the movie and that's it. I go, yet I can watch All in the Family or Gunsmoke or so it's been on for 30 years because the story continues. He has just reached a certain chapter in his life. He's 29, 30 years old. And as we know, every 10 years, there's major change.
He's going, yeah, the story continues for 30 years. There's just different chapters. Why do we have to go and do something new? And did this guy coin the sequel or something? Because now they're everywhere. And at the time, they're considered an atrocity. And when you think of it, what movies did he make? Rocky 1, Rocky 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Rambo, 1, 2, 3. How many Rambos were there, right? He's just making the same movies over and over again. So let's compare him to a standard ISFP. Harrison Ford is a great example because he has the extroverted sensing. And so he's constantly going, yeah, I need variety. I need new things. I need to do a completely different role. I can't do the same thing. Don't make me play Han Solo again. Kill him off.
No, I argued for 30 years for this to happen.
Right.
And finally, I wore him down.
But of course, he has a soft spot for Indiana Jones, and so he'll play that role over and over. But for the most part, he's constantly going, I've got to do something brand new. For Sly, that doesn't seem to be the case, and he seems to be comfortable doing the same. Now, I won't be able to show you all the clips on this next one, but it's interesting to see what does his family have to say about him. And so he comes out.
The first thing is we have to learn about a little self-defense, something.
And you just see it written all over their faces, like, not again, you've got to be kidding me. He would make us practice against coyotes, he would make us practice pepper spraying each other, carrying a knife in the backpack.
Probably shouldn't say that.
They had to do all these crazy things because he would make them over-prepare constantly. Who are you behind closed doors? And all of his daughters are going, this is who we have to live with every single day. That's what you want to pay attention to. As well, Sly ended up hitting a period of depression later on in life. I think a lot of his films didn't do so great, Rocky 5 didn't do so well, and so he ended up sitting in a theater for hours on end just watching films trying to find himself again. And what's interesting is that when you hit a period of depression or anxiety, oftentimes you'll lean on your saviors to get you out of it. So for OI, it's going to be, hey, I need to go back to the same. I need to go back to what's familiar, to my known information. Whereas if you're OE, for me, whenever I'm feeling down and out, whenever I'm feeling stressed, my first response is to go, well, do I need to leave my job? Do I need to move out of state? Do I need to move out of country, go somewhere brand new where I've never been before and just up and leave? And so then I have to kind of calm myself down and go, hey, just wait it out. But my desire is for something new. But for Sly, whenever he was down and out, he hid away for a little while, and then all of a sudden he's coming back with Rocky 6. Anytime that he hit a rough patch, he would always go back to either Rocky or Rambo, his known characters. They were his safe space in a sense. So what you're going to be seeing from Sly is that he is OI over OE. So now that we're here, we might as well cover his functions. So since he's OI, is this going to be either NI or SE, or is this going to be SI or NE?
It's fearful. Life gets more and more difficult as we get older. We think it gets easier, it doesn't. It gets more complicated and layered. I've always said that life is kind of like from 1 to 40, it's all about addition, and from 40 on, it's about subtraction. And you have to say, you know what? How do I make myself happy? What is it going to do? Like, I try to make everyone happy. Now, what is the thing that's going to make me happy?
Yeah, so we're going to ignore that last part for right now. But did you see him when he was talking about, hey, from 1 to 40, it's addition. From 40 on, subtraction. He just took all the possibilities in all these ages, and he's just clumping them together. He's going, this one goes in this bucket, and the other one goes in the other. Hey, wait a second. I know what that function is because I also have NI, but because I'm a sensor and because maybe I don't have it as a savior, who knows, I kind of see things in more like 5-year time chunks or 10 years. But he's just taking all 40 years, he's going, nope, same thing. Like, what? Because I'm mid-20s. You're telling me that I am the same as someone who is 2 and someone who is 39? Nope, all the same. It's all addition. And as well, when you're listening to Sly, you're not going to be hearing a lot of facts or a lot of concrete evidence, but instead he talks more in analogies and in comparisons, and there's a lot more woo-woo talk, if you will.
It just was seismic. It was woo.
So he is going to be in I. But in order to prove that for sure, we also need to have the cross-check of SE, extroverted sensing. Now, oftentimes this can be a tough one to catch, especially if it's a demon, if it's lower in the stack, it has less activation, it's just not going to come out as much. But I want you to pay attention to what his buddy Arnold has to say about how the two of them would compete.
I think the Rainbow movies were fantastic. It was really true action movies. And this is the kind of things that we were like kind of competitive with.
Right.
Because I mean, Sly was all of a sudden, he had a gun in Rambo.
Right.
He had a gun that was normally only mounted on helicopters. You know, so people were saying, how the hell does he hold this machine gun in a hand when it's so heavy? So of course, I did Predator. I had to even have a bigger gun that is mounted on tanks and ships and stuff like that. So we were kind of trying to outdo each other with who had the biggest guns and the biggest knives and who kills more people, who sells more tickets at the box office, who has less body fat and who has more muscles. And I mean, we were competing about everything. It was like the funniest thing that you can think of. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, like I said, we admired each other.
Yeah, they're always making these sensory comparisons. He had a gun, so I had to get a bigger gun. He had a knife, so I needed a bigger knife. Less, more, body fat, tickets, whatever. They're constantly going, hey, what sensor do you have? And how can I one-up you? They're making these comparisons across the sensory spectrum. It's almost like they're playing the Donald Trump game.
What a big room this is. I walked in here, I said, wow, what a big room.
They're constantly making all these sensory and these size comparisons. And as well, even though that Sly is 78, I bet he could still jump over a fence better than I could. So what you are seeing is that this is NI and SE. And as I was watching Sly, I started to recognize maybe he's not as mopey as I thought. So, is Sly an introvert or is he an extrovert? If he's an introvert, he's going to be more mopey, he's going to be resting, he's going to be slowing down, putting on the brakes, taking in for himself, he's going to be hiding away, no one can find him. Then at the end of the year, everyone's going, hey, where's the work? What are you doing? Are you actually producing? Are you expending energy? What's going on? And if he's an extrovert, it's going to be the exact opposite, where he's expending too much energy, he's producing too much, and he's not slowing down, he's not taking a break. And at the end of the year, he's just having this huge crash because his body just can't take it anymore. So, is Sly an introvert or is he an extrovert?
You got civilized.
I looked at my body and went, okay, Rocky now has become incredibly vain. So I'm going to train in such a way where you break down all the body fats. I went down to like 155 pounds, living pretty much on fish and water. I was getting mercury poisoning and just keep going. I was drinking, and I'm not joking, 25, 30 cups of coffee a day.
How do you direct when you're getting punched in the head? The crew's going, Sly, where do you want the camera next? You're like Jell-O at that point?
Yeah, Mr. T beating on you. That made it difficult to keep track of all the shots. For example, I'm running 9 cameras, and you have to keep running around. Back then, we didn't have all those monitors. You have to go up to the top of the bleachers, come back down. Let's change that. Let's go to 35. And you go, well, did I say 35? Yeah, okay. And you're just trying to keep track of all this stuff in your boxing shorts with blood on your face. You go, okay. People go, hey, okay, we're gonna keep filming. I go, yeah, we got to keep going. So, but you know, Robert, it's when a director has a vision, I think something clicks in that is supernatural, and you just push all that pain or all that distraction away, and you become obsessed. And you're in the middle of the night, you're waking up with writing lines and things, and then the day you wrap, I literally go,
no, you get sick at the end.
Yeah, at the end of it, his whole body just can't take it anymore because he's doing too dang much. Even Hulk Hogan was like smashing him on the ground, and then he was like,
as soon as I made contact, his face hit my cowboy boots. He came up and his lip was bleeding. So, oh, that's perfect, that's perfect. And so he was all excited, you know, just because I hit him.
Are you kidding me? He is doing all of his own stunts. He's doing way too much, and he's crashing later. He even wrote Rocky in like 3 days straight. This is an insane amount of producing. And what's interesting is that his wife seems to be playing the role of the introvert.
She doesn't tell you this part. She hides. I can't find her. If I'm in a house, I cannot find her for 12 hours.
And she seems to be maybe more blast. She kind of reminded me a little bit of Taylor Swift, but then as I watched her, I'm like, wait, is she T-E-S-E? Maybe, who knows? But then I was like, oh, is that Christine Baranski? So anyways, so we have Sly as OI and an extrovert. That automatically makes him blast over consume. So wait, we need to get a cross-check on that. So if he is blast, it is going to be OI and DE. So he's going to be taking all of his known information and streamlining it so that he can get it out to the tribe. This is going to be teaching. This is going to be explaining. This is going to be producing. Get it done. Whereas if he's consume, it's going to be OE and DI. So he's going to be gathering for self. He's going to be replenishing for self. He's going out for new outfits. He's going to be taking in, whether it's food, whether it's information, and then he's not ready to produce. So are we going to see for Sly, is he blast or is he consume?
I just find it crazy. I just thought about this, how you wrote it in 3 days. It's still shocking to me that something so massive was written.
It's not that hard.
Well, how do you not think it's hard?
Because I'm not a perfectionist. A lot of it was sloppy and useless, but I knew I would get it the second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th time around. I think the most important thing in anything we do, not just writing, anybody, is just get to the end zone. I don't care how. And then you can fix it second time around. So I knew writing as I'm going, just get to the ending, get to the final scene, get to the point where you say, I love you, and the scene is over. Done, movie. Then you can start to fix it. But I find the majority of people, myself included, that you're looking for procrastination. You're looking for distraction. And it takes 10 months to write a screenplay. A year, sometimes you never finish. And I've been that person too. So I tell people, I don't care how bad it is, write 10 pages of garbage. But it's 10 pages you actually sat down and accomplished.
Yeah, he's going, we just need to ship this out. We got to produce it. We got to get it done. Hey, we can catch it on the rewrite, all the mistakes. Who cares? We'll do it on the 3rd, 4th, 10th time. We just got to get this out there. What's interesting is that Alex Hormozi is a very ambitious individual, but he is blast last. So he said it took him about 2 years to even get started on making a website. But when he finally sat down and did it, it took him 6 hours. So he's going, why did I wait all that time when it only would have taken 6 hours? And so now he preaches, just get it done, just produce, just get started. But for Sly, this seems to be obvious. Even at a young age, Sly knew, like, hey, we just gotta get this out there. Yeah, Rocky, my best film ever, like, I'll just produce it in 3 days. Just get this out there, get it done. And he's still producing today. And what's interesting is that I caught him in an interview and he was like, all these actors that you interview, why don't they talk more?
Maybe they just don't know what they want to say, thinking it over, being cautious, dim-witted.
There you got it.
And I was like, right? They talk fine in the movies. Why can't they talk here now? Like, what's the big deal?
No, but I sit down and watch them going, what are they thinking of, man?
Yeah,
How can this guy remember lines?
Yeah, well, see, that's the problem, though. They don't know the lines in an interview. If they had a character, it would be
No, you can appreciate. Try ad-libbing with these guys.
But if we are seeing Savior Blast, we should be seeing Demon Consume, where he is neglecting to take in new for himself. He's neglecting to listen, he's neglecting to take in advice, or maybe he's a bit weird about it, or a bit weird about eating food. Now, normally you're not going to be able to catch this sort of thing, but luckily, his family has noticed a thing or two.
Who's most likely to give the best career advice?
Ooh, that's a tie.
That would be between us. I think we're both pretty good at, like, I'm more
our advice is so good.
structured and he's not, so we
She gives really good business advice. He gives really good advice of dealing
No,
with
but
people
her
in the
advice
workplace.
takes 3 hours.
That's true.
Mine's 3 minutes.
Yeah,
that's
You
true.
know.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you have to take a nap in the middle of her advice.
Oh, that's me.
What were you saying? I'm back. Wow.
I can, by the way, he forgets everything I tell him, but I can tell him, if I have a great story, I can repeat it like every 2 years because he forgot I told him.
It's a secret to happiness. Every day you should try to forget something new. And just keep it simple.
Yeah.
I heard the girls mention that you're a big fan of Jell-O and applesauce, hopefully not together.
I think that all geniuses eat Jell-O. I don't know. I'm just saying. There's something about Jell-O. I don't know. It's like eating a toy.
No, it's easy on the teeth. It's
No, it
he
looks
doesn't,
like
he doesn't like chewing, actually.
Yeah, he hates chewing.
When I say
It
everything,
brings me back to.
Sight.
I don't like chewing. Like I have no teeth.
Everything.
No, I like chewing.
No, you don't. Everything you eat, you like cottage cheese,
ice cream,
rice
I
pudding,
do.
ice cream, sorbet.
She's right. I don't like chewing.
He
I
loves
love
popsicles.
Jell-O.
3 popsicles a day.
No,
True.
he'll have a cookie. He'll mush it in his hand just so he gets to a crumble.
Yeah, he was. Oh my god, I brought my
I'm a
boyfriend.
cookie cracker.
I remember I brought my boyfriend over for like the second time, and my mom just made a plate of cookies, and my dad grabs it, and he's talking to my boyfriend, and he smashes it in front of him and grabs the cookie, starts smashing, shoving it in his mouth like that.
That's what you do.
It's just what you do. Like, Sly is never gonna come out and tell you, by the way, I'm a little weird with food and listening and taking in advice. He's never gonna tell you that because he's unconscious in that area. But everyone around you will notice. I remember when I was in college, all my roommates would tell me, why are you so weird with sleep? And I was like, what do you mean? Like I slept under the table, I would lay across a series of chairs, I would flip furniture upside down and sleep underneath it. Like anywhere that you could stuff a cat or a dead body, that's where you'd find me. And I was like, well, what do you mean? That's just what you do. So now, is Sly going to be DI or is he going to be DE? Is he seeing from his point of view first or is he seeing from the tribe's point of view first? Also, let's see, how does his family see him?
See, that's like, we call mom the town crier.
She is.
Yeah.
It's a nice word for being a big mouth. Yes, it is.
And what does
She'll
that
tell
make you?
everything. What?
She's a big mouth. What are you?
I wouldn't say I'm a big mouth.
No, if she's the big mouth, what are you?
I don't know, baby. I'm kind of like I'm the insulter.
It's all about me.
See, it's all about me. You guys, that's your fallback position. It's all about me.
Yeah, you know, the worst thing he's ever done was get an Instagram account. It's made him even worse. It's like
no, actually, I enjoy it. Thank you.
No, I honestly think Instagram is good for you. You're connecting with your younger generation.
I'm going on TikTok next.
No, oh
yeah.
God.
What I can tell them is that they cannot relate to it at all is, did your dad make you speak into a tape recorder and recite poetry and lyrics?
Now we know the
every
Raven
single
by
day?
heart.
But what is that other one? Do you know? That was so great. Anyway, I wanted them to articulate and hit these words known as plosive sounds, like. And so you put a piece of, I don't know, you don't even have it here.
Oh yeah, he would put a tissue.
If you have a napkin or tissue, you go, pa, and it would pop up.
It was a competition to see how high it
Every day he would tape a napkin to our forehead.
So she had this napkin taped to her nose, and they learned to be so loud.
Loud, yeah.
And very dramatic.
Yeah.
It was
so
nice.
What was going through so with the workouts in the morning?
Because I wanted someone to do it for me, and I said, okay. I would like this. I would like this. For sure. Who wouldn't want
And we
that?
weren't allowed to do any other field sports except shot put.
Now, I want you girls to do something that you would be called upon never to do. But when you do, you would be ready.
Hold on. Yeah,
like,
no, I got
a shot put.
Do you
is
remember
amazing.
what happened? I got second place in shot put.
There you
and
go.
you stormed off, and you were so mad you didn't talk to me for 2 days.
But you know
because
what you
we
did
trained
to me?
for months.
Well, I would have wanted it for me. Who wouldn't want that? Well, are you checking? Would they have wanted that? Does anyone want that? I don't want that. He's checking his point of view first and checking the tribe's later, or never. And if you're looking at Sly's life story, he's been constantly fighting his way into the industry. They tried to pay him to leave Rocky, and he said, sorry, I'm the lead of the movie, take it or leave it. Everyone else is questioning, hey, you can't just cut in line. Who says that you're allowed? He says, well, says me. He didn't fit into any category, so he made his own. So what you're gonna see from Sly is that he is DI and not DE. So now that raises the question, what is at the core of his identity? Is it going to be FI or is it going to be TI? My morals, my values, what matters to me, the heart, or is it going to be my process, what works for me, and my truth? So, what are we going to hear from Sly? Is he going to be save your feeling or is he going to be save your thinking?
Hey guys, we don't need the scene. The scene was the most important scene in the movie. Is where Rocky comes back from the arena and realizes he can't win. And so he changes his whole priority. He goes, I can't win. He lays up with his wife. But if I can go the distance, he's so great. And he's going to beat me, he's going to hurt me, but I don't care. They pull. I go, stuff. This is the most important scene in the movie. This is it. This is what sets the whole thing.
Why does he pull? What?
Because he goes, you know, man, it's 8 o'clock, everyone's tired. I go, it's the most important scene. So I have to tell you, a little rowdy. I was nuts because I said, guys, and I screamed. I said, give me one take. They put the camera up. I'm laying in bed, I come in, I go, I can't win. What? I can't win. But it doesn't matter if he opens my head. And the camera's just coming in like this. It's one take. And thank God she didn't blow a line, I didn't blow a line, and it ends. She goes, cut. Next day, the scene they hated, the producers come out and go, Sly, that's the best freaking scene in the movie. I went, I know. This is what I had to deal with. They're making all this, but the whole point is that's the heart.
He is fighting on what matters. He is fighting on what's important. This is the heart of the movie, says me, screw everyone else, we're doing it my way. And so if you are seeing Save Your Feeling, you should also be seeing Demon Thinking, where he is neglecting more of the work, the dude done doing things.
And I got so nervous. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm sick. Who's going to take care of me? So I called up Sophia. I'm like, Sophia, I'm so scared because Sly's here and I don't know if he can take care of me.
No, Dad's not really, hey, I can take care of you.
Sophia was sending me soup from across the country.
Yeah, I'm sending her all this stuff and Dad's in the back, why can't you think I can help? You're gone looking at cars for the next 4 hours.
You left to go look at cars all day.
So it's safe to say that, Dad, you show Mom love emotionally. And your humor and the way you speak.
Well,
and then, Mom,
helps her.
you do the physical things every single day.
Like carry the luggage, open the door,
yes.
book the restaurants,
You're
cook,
right.
clean,
Exactly.
take care of him, remind him about every single
By the
thing.
way, so I'm very A-type.
Yeah, but
and
you
he's
wouldn't
very
have
not.
any.
Yes.
Our generator for the pool went off, and Dad just got like a stick or something, like hitting it, literally like a caveman. Mom goes down, tinkers, and Dad's like, you can't fix it.
Turns on immediately.
I did. I fixed it. I actually have the toolbox in the family. He doesn't know what a hammer is, a wrench, and
Dare you?
just telling the truth.
So it's like Sly's playing the role of this big, tough macho man, but don't expect him to fix anything for you. He's not going to be able to make the thing work. He is responsible for the emotions, for the humor, for the vibe, but don't expect him to do the do-done doing things right. And what's interesting is that when Sly wrote Rocky IV, he essentially wrote the villain as his archetype of intellect, this giant Drago the Machine. And it just so happens that Dolph Lundgren has been typed by Objective Personality as a mopey ESTP. And then Rocky, of course, is playing the role of the man, the heart, the soul. He is fighting for what matters. He is fighting for family. And so essentially it is FI versus TI. So my takeaway from this is that FI wins every time, baby. So now we have Sylvester Stallone narrowed down to Savior NI and FI. So this makes him either an INTJ jumper or an ISFP jumper. So what kind of story are we hearing here? Is this an IJ story where he is building and building this one system to go against the chaos of the world? Or is this an IP story where he is building and building up himself to go against the tribe? So what we are really looking for here is this a fear of things or is this a fear of people? Well, Sly just so happens to be a director. What kind of films does he like to make?
How do you get to a point of reading a script where you think, this could be something, you know?
I have a few people, a couple that work for me, they're very like-minded. I say, this is the kind of film I want to make.
So they sort of pick out the best ones?
Action-oriented, man against the system, woman against the system, you know, that kind of people dealing with people. I hate movies about, we have to get the nuclear reactor out of the country before the president shows up. Those, I'm done. But people being oppressed and like Rambo saving this, never about like a bank robbery or about something inanimate, about these poor people or that poor people or the cartel or this. That's what I think the audience can relate to, as opposed to a heist. Some guys are really good at it. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't want to make a movie about a heist, the arc reactor, the secrets, the things. I want it to be people against people. Well, wait a second. What kind of movies does Sly like to make? What's Rocky about? It's about a man rising up and rising to the top and going man against the world. Oh, well, what's Rambo about? It is literally one man going against the entire tribe. Is this the IP story? If this is an IP story, we should be hearing, I need to build myself up in order to inspire the tribe. But wait a second, are they coming after me? No matter, I can take them.
There's a big trend going around, and it's sounding like you originated this trend. It's called, what is it, main character of your life? Basically, this is going around with our generation, and people are saying, you want to be the main character of your life. So everything you do with confidence. You do it, nothing can stop you. No one's going to stand in your way. And you basically were the OG of owning your own destiny and believing it.
What matters in the world is what you have in your heart, what you think is right, no matter how many people go against you, no matter how many times you're turned down or rejected or laughed at or scorned. If you know in your heart that you're doing the right thing, that's all that matters. And you have to be able to go man against the world. And sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. But that's the value of being a free thinking human being, no matter what the cost.
It is me against the world. As long as you know what is right, as long as you know what matters to you, that's all you need. As long as you are authentic and true to your own heart, then you don't need anyone else. They're either gonna get on board or I'll keep moving forward and I'll win anyway. But then on the other side of things, you realize.
My children, well, I get, really emotional about it. There's always that regret. I could have learned so much more if I hadn't been so self-absorbed and dealing with other people. You think about what you should have done at this age. And now, at this age, what did I mess up on? I'm there making a stupid movie instead of making their life.
So now let's move over to the Elimination Tool here. And so what you're going to be seeing from Sly is that this is OI. He is going back to his known information. He is going back to what's familiar, making the same movies over and over again. This is also intuition, where he is clumping, he is abstract, he is talking in analogies and comparisons, and he is an extrovert. He is doing way too much and crashing later. This is Savior Blast. He is producing nonstop. And this is DI. He is doing things his way. He's seeing from his own point of view. And this is FI. He is going based on his values and what is right and what is true to his own heart. And this is a decider story. This is the IP, me against the world. And you're gonna see Energy Dom, pretty comfy cozy, goofy in all the interviews. And kind of last one, I think this is going to be the harder one to catch here, is how do you prove that Sly is sleep over play, other than the fact that it's all over his face? But here's another way to look at it. What is sleep? Sleep is OI and DI. It is the same story about self. And if you listen to what his daughters have to say, they kind of have their own grievances.
Do you know how many times he saw me, he's like, this is the first place on this corner where I stole my first pack of cigarettes.
yeah, when I was 13, I had my first cigarette at this corner next to this bush, next to Ricky, next to this guy. And they're just laughing at the fact that he constantly tells the same stories about himself over and over again. So what you are going to be seeing is that this is technically Save Your Sleep. So what you're going to see is that Sly technically is an ISFP, but he's no Harrison Ford. He's no Taylor Swift. He is going to be the weirdest ISFP that you are ever going to see because he's not an introvert. He is ramping up. This is blast and play, producing and expending way too much energy. And he's not SE gathering, looking for new variety, looking for new sensory things. He's just going back to the same information. This is NI. And he happens to be double masculine. And you're going to see this in his kinesthetics, in his full body movements. What's interesting is that in Rocky 3, he's going against Clubber Lang, aka Mr. T, who also happens to be a double masculine. And it's funny that throughout the movie, he's learning how to play a more feminine role. Like Creed is teaching him, hey, you gotta be light on your feet, you gotta be movable, you gotta be flexible, and dodge these hits, rather than just brute force taking them on like you used to. So, just a little tidbit there. Now, Sylvester Stallone has not been social typed. So if I were to give my best guess on his type, the guy kind of has a hustle. He has an ambition, he's been climbing all throughout life, and at the ripe old age of 78, he's still going. He's making more movies, he is making family documentaries, he's not stopping, and he's doing more. And at the same time, he seems to be playing more of the role of the generalist rather than the specialist. He's going, yeah, I don't want to be a one-finger piano player. I want to be a 10-finger piano player. Yeah, some people want to get off work and spend their weekend watching television and drinking a beer.
But there's nothing wrong. Because imagine if everybody was overly ambitious. You'd have a country of generals and no privates.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, wait a minute. Somebody has to be in the army.
So he seems to be playing more of the generalist role rather than the specialist. Now, I had a harder time with Flex and Friends. He seems to be rather friendly, rather goofy. Like, I feel like I could go and give the guy a hug. I think that's my new, Friends test. Like, he seems friendly enough for that, right? At least compared to his buddy Arnold, who is intense, go-getter, #1 all the way to the top, governor of California, would have ran for president if he was allowed to, and he kind of has this intense aura about him, like he's rather intimidating. But Sly, I'm not getting the same vibes. Now, hear me out on the math equation that I'm putting together here. Sly grew up in a traumatic and abusive childhood, and he happens to be a double masculine extrovert IP. So if this guy was a #1, why is he not some insane egomaniac all the way to the top, flexing all the time? Why is he not some Andrew Tate or Conor McGregor? Yet for some reason, he's not. He's laid back, he's chill, he's goofy, he can take a hit, he's joking around. I don't know. If I were to social type Sly, my best guess would be he's probably maybe more of a #2, but who knows? Anyways, that was Sylvester Stallone. I hope that you enjoyed. He's definitely serving as more of a father figure, ISFP mentor for me, so I'm definitely taking notes. But anywho, if you enjoyed, let me know, and then let me know a suggestion for who you'd like to see next. But otherwise, keep punching.
I've always thought of life as like this one-way street, and you head down it, and as you do, it sort of disappears behind you. You can only go one direction, forward. And looking way down there, you see a city, but it's on fire. It's red hot. And like I said before, you can't go back once you started this damn journey. You can only go forward. You got two choices. One, you get scared, you give up, and then you burn up. And the second one, you say, fuck it, fuck fear, and you barrel through it. And when you come out on the other side, I guarantee you, you're gonna be stronger than you ever thought possible.